Okay, very excited today. Welcome everyone to another very special session. Today is going to be the intro for neurosynthesis. That when I studied it, used to be called NeuroHuman. So that I feel makes it a little bit easier to understand what this is actually about. So the neurosynthesis, aka NeuroHuman course, was created by Pavel Piskaryov. It is also known as Algorithm 6. And the reason why I did not teach it so far is because it is, for me, the most complex algorithm. It has a lot of Pavel's theories, of other theories. We work with, more complex drawing more complex drawings than in the other algorithms. And I wanted to just be fully prepared to do that. Now I feel more or less. So the classes are always a learning for me as well. But yeah, today we're going to go into the first concept that Pavel put forth, that is one of the concepts that he actually created for his doctoral thesis. As some of you might know, Pavel Piskaryov, the founder of Neurographica, he is doctor of science of psychology and also professor, I think, in St. Petersburg. And part of his doctoral thesis was a theory that he called MetaModern. And MetaModern, in a way, is Pavel's vision of the future human. So we're going to look at that today. And we're going to look at it in a way that he uses a lot. He calls it the four windows, where we cut our picture in four. So we look at four separate parts and then we bring them together. So we're going to look at four layers, like that's how I like to understand it, of our human experience. And I really like this way of we pull it apart and we look at each one separately and then we bring it back together. And kind of look at, okay, what are we when we integrate all these four parts? And this is Pavel's idea of a meta-modern human, is someone who integrates the four parts that he puts forth. Okay, so drinking a sip of my coffee, and I'm just gonna move right in, and we're gonna start the drawing right away. I think we're gonna take more or less maybe an hour. We'll see how long it takes. And we're gonna add layers. So we're gonna go through these four parts several times with several different layers. And yeah, kind of add more and more things. And you can, if you want to work on a specific topic, like we often do in Neurographica, your topic can also just be me as a metamodern human, basically. You yourself as a human. So either, just working with, okay, who am I today, basically? How do I feel? Or you can also work with something more specific. That is up to you. And it's, of course, more for the people that are a little bit more advanced, that know what it means to set a topic. Okay, so I'm going to switch my camera and we'll just get started. Okay. So, as always, I'm going to use Sharpies. You can literally use any pens that you have, but these are my favorite tools to work with. So what I will do, and you don't have to do this first step, this is just for you to demonstrate kind of how we divide the paper. So I'm going to say this is how I divide my paper. Oh yeah, you can see it a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit stronger. So this is optional. This is just for you to see a little bit better what I'm doing. You can do it if you want to. So basically we cut the paper in four and we have four different parts. So the way that Pavel works with that, we always start in the top right corner and then we go bottom right and then bottom left and then top left. So this is kind of like the way we work, like a clock. So clockwork principle. So we're going to start with this segment up here. And this segment is the space that we give to our physical body. And today I would like to invite you in the first round to just add a circle for your physical body, just feeling into how big is it right now. If you see, like, you imagine that this is your entire piece of paper, like so, this is all the space I have. How much space does my body, my material self, take on in this space? I guess I'm going to switch to my other pen. And just, I always like to invite people to just trust your hand and see what kind of size of circle might come up. And it may, even if sometimes it goes out of the picture, sometimes it crosses the boundary to another space, that's all right. Just making a circle and seeing how prominent is my body right now. And mine is not super prominent. Mine is kind of tired. So yeah, you can go outside the space. If your body needs more space than this little piece of paper has, then you can also go out. Okay, so first step. Oh, and today I'm realizing I'm not even doing a meditation. So maybe we do this after. After we have the first check-in, then maybe we meditate. I'm like ahead of myself. The message of the ant was to be quick. Then the next part is our emotions, your emotional body. How much space do your emotions take in your experience right now? And mine, I think, are a little bit bigger than the body. And I just go like spontaneous without like overthinking it, without like thinking, is this right? Is this wrong? This is just a spontaneous kind of first impression of what my body, what my emotions feel like. This is how much space they take. Yes, I am
Will this
recording.
be on YouTube? Are you recording it?
Yes, I am recording. I told everyone that I am
Thank,
recording locally on my computer and this will be on YouTube. Yes.
thank you so much.
Now we have the third one. The third one is our mind, our thinking, our intellect, the stuff that sometimes takes up a lot of space. For me, I guess I'm going to probably make a bigger circle here. That's even bigger than my emotions. But just checking in with yourself spontaneously. What do you think? Yeah, it is a little bit bigger there. And interestingly, it kind of moves into the next field. And needs a few more rounds. My thoughts. Yes. So just giving that a second. And then the final one, the one that Pavic kind of added to the usual schema of the human as it is in psychology. Psychology, everybody who knows the basic user course, we have this like triple of the body and the emotions and the mind. So what Pavic added to it is the spirit. Can you please stay muted and use the chat if you have any questions? Thank you. Okay, so we have the spirit as number 4. So now how big feels your spirit? And I know maybe, someone might go like, it's way out, it's way bigger. But just for you in your everyday experience, in your experience of yourself or of your topic right now, what role does your spirit play? How big is it? Where is it in this little space? And I'm going to say for me, I feel a little bit under-spirited. So it's kind of like there. So this first round, we can in a way use as a diagnosis. And that is how we work with a lot of things in neurosynthesis. We look first at what is right now. No, right now I see, okay, my thoughts are really big, my emotions are also there, my body and my spirit, they're kind of like not taking up so much space. So I am dominant down here and not so much up there. So just kind of, seeing what it is for you without judging it, without, being like, oh my God, this has to be different. Right now, it just is what it is. And now I'm going to invite us to sit down for a moment with it, with like this first diagnosis. And if it feels good, you can just sit comfortably for a moment, placing both feet on the ground, closing your eyes for a moment, and checking in with yourself after seeing that. Just taking a few deep breaths to begin with, and checking in with your body again. Oh, we already placed our body into the picture. Just checking in. Okay, my body did not get a lot of attention. How does it feel about it? How do I feel about this? Is there anything that wants attention? Is there any message that might already come up from your body? Just taking a deep breath here. And then checking into the emotions. And again, kind of reflecting how much space did your emotions take up in the picture? And how does that feel? Without judging it. Just seeing it, feeling it for what it is right now. And taking a deep breath into your heart. And if it feels good, you can sigh and release anything that wants to be released. It can be very helpful. And then let's check in with the mind and see, okay, what role does my mind play? Mind is like super important. What does it say to that? What comes up? What story is attached to it? What thoughts? And again, taking a deep, deep breath there. And just settling with it. Just being okay with whatever is right now. And then we're going to look at ourselves as a whole, as a spiritual being in this body with these emotions and these thoughts. And if that feels aligned, you can imagine a sphere of energy around yourself. Maybe you feel like you want to connect to your higher self. Or however you feel connected to your spirit, maybe connecting to the divine inside of you. And feeling, where is that for you? And again, just breathing with it. Seeing what importance, what space does the spiritual energy take in your life right now. And then I invite you to imagine yourself as a whole, with your body, with your emotions, with your mind, with your spirit, all interconnected, all as one entity that has all these parts, that integrates all these parts. And feeling, what might that feel like? Who will you be when you are all connected inside yourself? When all of these parts resonate, when all of these parts work together to fulfill your personal, divine, unique destiny. No matter if you really believe into it or not, just feeling into that. Who would you be? What would you feel like? As an integrated human, as a meta-modern human. And I invite you to bring a smile to your face. And just looking at yourself with love, with compassion, feeling yourself completely, feeling yourself as this beautiful whole that you are. And breathing with it a few times, and allowing any visions, any thoughts, any ideas, emotions, sensations, any meaning, any understanding to come up. And then I invite you to bring your hands together and bring them together in front of your chest for a moment, connecting with your heart, connecting with that engine that fuels all of you, fuels all of these different layers of you. And breathing one more time. And then let's rub the hands together to bring warmth, energy flow, blood flow into the hands, making them nice and warm. Might not a little bit cold today. And then whenever you feel nice and warm and energized, placing your hands over your eyes for a moment and just breathing in the energy. And I invite you to imagine a connection between your eyes and your hands. An energy flow between what you see with your two eyes, with your inner eye, your inner vision, and what you create. So that all that you create today will be exactly what you need to see, what you need to understand, what you need to keep on going your unique path. And breathing one more time with that, and then you can very gently start waking yourself back up. Maybe you could rub your face or allow your hands to move over your head, to your neck, to your shoulders. I'll go wherever they feel comfortable. Okay, and with that, now we're going to look at the deeper layers. So now we have our first kind of maybe understanding, maybe just a first little glimpse into what's happening inside of us. Those first circles of how much space we give to these parts of ourselves first. And what I invite you to do now is to feel into the energy. And we can do that with lines, and we can do that with very edgy lines or very round lines. So for my body, I literally almost feel like I want to put a catharsis. Catharsis is when we just go scribble intuitively, when we just go and express whatever needs to be expressed. So I'm just going to go and say my body feels like this. And your body might feel round, your body might feel softer, just going and giving it some kind of expression. And we're going to leave that just for now, just as the first impression. And then I'm going to go to my emotions. And my emotions are also kind of moving up and down, but they're not always so edgy. Sometimes they're edgy too. But sometimes they're also kind of smooth. And they are many. So I need some more space for that. So I just, go around my circle and I just make some kind of expression in there. It can be soft, it can be edgy. And you just go around your circle 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, however feels good. And give it that feeling. My thoughts. My thoughts are also kind of edgy sometimes. There are layers to my thoughts, I feel. So I just go like this. That feels kind of how my thoughts are. There's some that are a little bit yeah, unstable, and some that are more smooth. And my spirit, I feel like it wants to actually grow, so I'm gonna grow it from where I am right now. So you can do that as well. Just going with my lines, smoother lines out. And interestingly, I'm already touching this circle of my thoughts as well. And you can go around it one more time and just, kind of feel into it. What is the energy that's there, that's present? I may go into my thought one more time and add a little bit more here because there's just a lot going on. And just letting it all out. Not just being like, okay, this is me right now. There's some parts of me that need more attention. There's some parts that are just full. There's some parts that want to grow. I feel like my body wants to grow as well. My body wants more space. So whenever we go outside of the circle, just like with the intuition that next I want to invite you to make space for it. So here I'm going to say, okay, my body, I'm actually going to give you more space. So if there's a circle for you that you want to give more space, you can do that. And here I feel like my emotional one, actually, I want to take it in a little bit. So my lines went more in. All your parts want more space. Yeah, there you go. Everything wants to grow. That's beautiful. Okay, so that's the first one. Now we're going to go into the second round. And we're going to harmonize each part in itself. And how we're going to do that is with rounding. And I'm going to very gently and quickly explain rounding to anyone who is completely new, just so you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, I have this. I'm going to just start with the circle that I had for my body because it makes a lot of places that can be rounded. So wherever two lines cross, like here, 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 that's what it looks like, lines cross. What we do is, instead of having them cross to where they kind of angular and hard, we want to soften them to where they become connected. They become connected. So here I go in, and this little space that is a little edgy space, I'm going to make it into a soft connected space. And first of all, I'm just going to do that inside. And then later, I'm going to worry about the outside ones. So like the little pointies that pick out there. So first you want to do inside, and then whenever you're ready, you want to connect those. Like I made another circle around it to the edge of that circle first with a line. And the line is going to be a kind of soft line. Imagine like a little root that's growing, or a little branch of a tree that's growing. It's not completely straight. It's not, yeah, it doesn't, it's like in its own way. It goes in its own way. So it's kind of like soft and flowy, maybe. Like a plant that is connecting to the other. I know we have beans growing, for example, in summer, and they always do that. They have their little feelers that poke out, and then whenever they connect to something, they attach to it. So we're doing that. And then also we can do that inside. So if we have here, I have like a pokey end kind of sticking into my circle, I'm going to connect that to something too. So what we want to end up with is a circle that has no pokey ends. And if yours is just round soft lines like I had, like this, then whenever they cross or something, you have little overlays, you want to round that. So anything that where lines are crossing, you want to round them and make everything smooth. And I'm going to say right away, this does not have to be perfect, because as you see in my picture, I have a lot of stuff going on here. So it's okay to not have every single tiny, tiny, tiny thing. In the body circle, I just draw another circle but smaller. That's good too. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Yeah, if you want to like go more in, do that. Absolutely. So we're going to spend just a while doing that. And it's going to be a while because I know that I'm going to take a while with that. And you just go from one to the next. I invite you to start with the body again. If, of course, you feel absolutely drawn to another circle and want to start there, you can do that. I always like to say your intuition is more important than my teaching. So if you feel that you need to do something different from what I'm talking about here, then trust yourself, especially if you're experienced with Neurographica and you already have some kind of knowing of how you work with that. And while we do this, you want to connect back to ourselves, staying in touch with the body, the emotions, the mind, and even feeling into what our spirit might say to it, like having this meta perspective, watching ourselves doing it. Like this overlooking at yourself with a smile on your face. And I'm just going to quiet down for a little bit. Just going to remind everyone to breathe, staying connected to your breath and your body, your emotions, your thoughts, and just enjoying this process of softening each single part of you and connecting deeper with each part of you and with whatever's happening in there. Hmm. And your picture doesn't have to look a certain way. It can look completely different from mine. Just so you know, whatever it will look like at the end is exactly what you need to see. So allowing it to change, allowing yourself to change with it. And deepening into yourself. Breathing and just softening. And whenever you're finished with one circle, just going to the next one. And as I said, you can go in the order that we started with. You can also jump. If it goes outside the quarter frame, yeah, you just round everything. Yeah, wherever it goes is okay. You know, just taking it as it goes. And yeah, you just like I'm actually going to ignore this line here. I think I'm not going to round that. It's okay to just be in there because this is just for us to see. What if one circle is completely in the other circle, not touching? Then I would add lines to connect them. Yeah, just like I added lines here to connect my little star pokies, my little yeah, my little pointy fingers to the edge of this circle, I would just find a soft line and connect it somewhere. You want things to be connected. So if you have a circle floating in the other circle, try and connect it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and now we're going into the next one. So we're going to give that probably like 10 minutes or more. We'll see how it goes. And as I said, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's more about really you feeling into this part of you, not so much about making a perfect picture. And someone's unmuted. I'm going to mute them. If you have a question, please use the chat. Some of my circles are connected and over the lines. Round them. Wherever there's circles and wherever there's lines, round them. That's what we do right now. We're just going to go with whatever is here and we're going to round it. Ah, nice. Dory folded the paper. That's very intelligent. Thank you for sharing that. That makes sense, yeah. So you can do that. So yeah, right now we just work with what is. Whatever it looks like, as I said, you know, yours may look completely different from mine, and that's absolutely fine. And wherever lines cross, you connect them, and wherever circles are inside other things, you connect them, lines in the circles. And we'll work with the inside right now, and then we worry about all the other things in the next round. We're going to go slowly, little by little, also to not overwhelm ourselves. Right now, we don't need to care about what's outside. So if there's circles and lines crossing, round those, and the rest you don't have to worry about right now. Now we just look at what we created here. And it's absolutely fine if the circles change and are not perfect round circles anymore, or if they never were. And please, Marianne, can you please stay muted? Someone keeps like unmuting. Were we supposed to actually draw the ink lines? I don't know what you want to say by that. What ink lines? Like the square? You were not supposed to draw that. You didn't have to draw that. That was an option. And you can work with that however you want. If you feel like you want to integrate it into whatever, like I could round this here, for example, I could do that, but I don't have to. Marian, can you please stay muted? Okay, and I'm only going to answer questions that are very directly related to what we're doing right now. And anything else we can discuss later. Because otherwise we're not going to do this. I'm not going to finish this because I need to do the drawing too in order to show you what we're doing. So if I answer questions all the time that are not related right now, then we're not going to make it. And again, reminding everyone to breathe and just kind of feel into what is happening here for you. Allowing all the thoughts, all the emotions, and just becoming aware. Are you judging? Are you questioning? Are you insecure with that? That's fine. All we want is to become aware of what's happening inside ourselves as we are doing this. And there is no right or wrong way here. There is no way this has to look at the end. This is just an exploration of what is happening for you as we connect to these parts. And again, reminding everyone to breathe. I gotta breathe big here. Okay, and slowly moving through your drawing. And to the next part. Wherever you are right now, it's fine. And as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. So if there are little spaces that you didn't get to round, that's okay. It's just like life is not perfect. We are not perfect. So we can allow that. This is also in a way about allowing us to be where we are right now. Allowing myself to be here. Talking to myself, of course. So I hope this resonates with others too. And allowing each part to feel a little bit more harmonious. And of course, a little different than we thought. And maybe you see kind of interesting shapes. And just paying attention to what you see. Any meanings, any ideas that kind of come up for you without getting too hung up on them. Just seeing it as an exploration. And breathing again. Breathing, staying in your body, staying connected to yourself. So we're going to give it another maybe 5-6 minutes. And you can, of course, take longer with that. And you can also come back to it later. So even if you don't manage to round everything right now, there will be more chances to round more later. So don't worry if it's not perfect yet. If you have empty spaces with points, connect the points. With curves, you can choose to connect them or not. With points, I would definitely recommend to connect them. So if you have a pointy end sticking out somewhere, make sure there is a line going to somewhere else so that the pointy end is connected. I always kind of like to see the pointy end as fingers that are pointing somewhere, so we want to connect them. If there's just smooth lines, you can choose to create connections or you can just leave it as it is. That's kind of like up to you. Basically, if you feel like you want to connect to the space, then you can. And if you feel like you want to leave it like that, then that's fine too. I have a lot of pointy stuff, so I have to connect a lot. But yeah, basically, if it doesn't cross, then it's your choice to add a line and make it connect or not. And with that, just trust your intuition. Trust yourself. There's no right way of doing that. There's no better way of doing that. There's just your way and whatever it will look like today. And if it looks different tomorrow, then that's fine too. So yeah, I have, as I said, I have a bunch of pointy stuff, so I'm making a lot of connections and I'm adding some lines through my circles. Have a lot to work on here, and it makes sense to me too that I have a lot to work on. So really, we always say that your experience of the drawing is more important than the drawing. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. It's more important what that means to you. Can you please stay muted? Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm just going to briefly go into my last one. And even that like can have a message from me right now. Maria, please stay muted. Hello, hello. Thank you. I wish I had an assistant and I could do that. Future wish for me. Okay, there we go. So we're just gonna give it like 2 more minutes so that I can very briefly at least go into my spiritual place. And interestingly, I can share right away this is absolutely what it feels like for me right now in real life. There is no time for me to go into any spiritual practices. So, whatever you experience in the drawing process with these parts of you can have a meaning if you just listen. No, I'm just like going in here now and I feel like, okay, I'm going to give it 2 more minutes and then we have to go on. And this is kind of symptomatic of how it's working in my life right now. I don't have the time to meditate and do all the great things that I would love to do. And I just feel how that feels without judging myself for it, without like being like, oh, I have to make this different, but just becoming aware of this is my experience right now. And this is what it looks like. And this part of myself does want more space. And it kind of feels good to go into these lines. So it just feels good to give it as little time as I have. And even that can be a great message. And not try to do the hour meditation, maybe the 5 minutes will do it. And it's still going to make me feel better. So here is where we just listen. Just listen to whatever comes up for you as you connect to these parts of yourself. Now I feel so much more relaxed somehow. It's interesting. Just going into that and saying it's okay. That really helped me right now to feel much more relaxed. And this is so beautiful because it didn't need more time. So interesting too. So this is how messages come up for me. Now I give you guys 1 more minute to just kind of feel where you are with it. And then we're going to go on from there. Drink a sip of coffee. Always taking care of yourself. It's funny, like everything I say, I feel it's like a message to myself. Okay. If your 2 circles for the body do not touch, should I... Well, you don't want to have a circle that is just floating in space, not connected to anything. So if your body doesn't touch anything, then you want to add a line that goes somewhere. And it can go anywhere. So if you have a circle inside another circle, because I kind of feel that that's what you wrote before, then you want to connect it to the outer circle somewhere. At least like one little connection, make one connection. And if it feels good, make more connections. But at least one. Okay, now next step. Now that we connected with everything kind of inside ourselves and we harmonized and smoothed and we worked through all our little themes, all our little things with these different parts, now we're going to connect to the world outside of us. So I'm going to start with the body again. You can just pick out the one that wants to be connected the most, but I'm just going to go in the order. Just so that someone goes with the order here, but you can go with your intuition. So if you feel like your mind wants to connect first, go with that. So now I'm going to see where can I connect to the edge of the paper. So here I take my circle and I already have these little spots where it's kind of wanting to go to the edge. And now I'm just taking this and draw a line that is a neurographic line, a line that just flows like a river, grows like a plant, goes in its own perfectly unique way, all the way to the very edge of the paper. So here is where we are connected to the world around us, because we are not isolated. We are actually social beings. Even when we're sitting in front of our computers, talking through Zoom, we are still social beings. And you can, again, choose where you want to connect and how much you want to connect. I kind of go with like these spots where they go, and you can also connect down to the other circles. And yeah, so you connect everything kind of internally and out. So now we're starting to connect to the world around us and as well connect the different parts of us. Because once we step out into the world, we are better off, I'm going to say, if we are connected as a whole human being. So we also want to create these connections between the circles where it feels right. And you can just see, maybe some circles have more connections, some circles have less connections, and you can ask what that feels like, what that might mean for you. And again, we're going to give that a little while, a few minutes. If lines cross, which can of course happen, then you just round them. So now my body circle is connected in all directions, and it's actually connected to all the other circles as well, to all the other parts. So starting with one, you want to connect out to the world and to the others. And you can see maybe there's more connections in one direction. Maybe your body circle is only connected to the spiritual, but not to the emotional. That's also a possibility. Then whenever you go to the emotional, then maybe you want to create more connection to the body. So yeah, now it's all about connecting, getting out of this isolation, getting to where we experience and see those different parts more as connected. We can kind of still see that they are parts, but now we feel into what it feels like for them to be connected. And it might feel different. Like now that I'm in my emotional circle, it feels different than my connection with the body. The emotions feels kind of like stronger to connect. I have to breathe harder. So again, just paying attention to whatever happens inside of you as you do that. And allowing it to be there. And if there's tension, you can always use your breath. Breathing deeply, taking a moment. It doesn't have to be fast. Just really taking your time with this and reflecting and feeling into it. And I'm just going to be quiet for a few moments, maybe a minute. We'll see how long I can stay quiet. And then we'll go on from there. And if there are no lines towards the edge, not like mine here, then just make some. If you feel like there needs to be a line there, just create it. You are the creator here, so you have all the possibilities. You can do it all. And create it for yourself. Create the connections that you may want and need that feel right. And breathing. Creating an internal and an external network takes a lot of energy. So giving yourself the time and the space with it. I'm going to give that maybe another 2-3 minutes. And again, you can stay with this process for as long as feels good. Make as many connections as you need. Go into rounding again. Now I actually kind of did draw the lines in the middle, like my first ones that I did, just because it looked like it. But now it's more a network. I'm connecting it. So now these lines in the middle are not so much separating my parts. So now it feels kind of okay for them to be there. And again, feeling how different it might feel for each of the circles. With my thoughts, ooh, there's a lot connect as well. I want to make many, many connections. Sharing my thoughts, apparently. Sharing my thoughts feels good, but also feels kind of complicated at the same time. And reconnecting to your body, to your emotions. Just feeling it all, everything that happens inside of you while you do this. Okay. And I almost don't want to go up to my spirit, so interesting. I want to kind of linger down here. But now I will go up here and also create some connections there. We're really just feeling it. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Your picture can look completely different from mine. That's absolutely fine. The most important part is that everything starts to really feel connected, look connected. And of course, that we pay attention to what happens inside of us while we do that. Mine feels really good right now. So next we're going to go into color. And with color, I'm going to say, as I always say, just play. The only rule that we have is that we don't want to do the mosaic or kind of church window style where every little segment has its own color, different from the ones next to it, but we want the color to flow through the drawing. So the way I like to do that is that I just pick a color that jumps into my eyes when I look at my little color box. And today it's this plum pink, apparently. And I just start somewhere. And I feel the plum pink is like starting in my emotions somehow. And I just start wherever I feel it starts. And then I move the color from there through the drawing. So I cross boundaries. I cross the lines. And I really invite you to go into that and feel into that. I know that most of us learned in kindergarten that you have to neatly color every single segment like you do in like drawing with numbers. I don't know if you did that ever, painting with numbers, where every little segment has its own color and you're like following it beautifully. Here we don't do that. Here we break out of this pattern. Here we break out and we just allow the color to flow wherever it wants to go. And I really, just follow my pen. And I see, okay, it kind of goes there and it goes there. And again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. What we want to do is create connection with the color as well. So here I connect my emotions with my body through this pink. And again, there is no right way to do this. So just trusting your intuition, trusting your hand. I sometimes feel if my hand kind of makes a little bit color in a space, then I just put some color in there. What you can do if you're working with colored pencils is you can layer the colors, you can fade it in and out. So I don't even have to color this entire segment here. I can just add a little bit pink in it on the edge. I can do stuff like that. So color is all about play. I really invite you to kind of connect with that inner child and see where it wants to go. And learning to trust yourself. And then whenever I feel like I may have enough pink, then I'm going to switch to the next color, and it's just going to be the next color that jumps into my hand, no matter if it goes with a pink or if it's if it follows any rules of color. We don't have to follow rules with color. So we're just going to give that maybe another like 10 minutes or so, let's say. I hope that we're going to do 90 minutes. I think I said like an hour. It's kind of absurd for me to say it's going to take an hour. Okay. And again, breathing, connecting with your body, with your emotions, with your mind, with your spirit, allowing yourself to be guided in this color. And if you have no idea what color to take, I always like to say, take the color that will make you feel good. Take the color that just feels like, this is great. This is a beautiful color. Bringing beauty into the drawing. Bringing whatever gives you comfort, whatever just feels good. And playing with it. And again, absolutely fine if it looks totally different from mine. That's what it's all about your uniqueness, your unique being, your unique drawing. Again, breathing, connecting back to yourself, connecting to this feeling of the color, the energy, and letting it resonate inside of you. And maybe the color has meaning for you. Just paying attention to whatever comes up as you connect with the help of the color. As you start to see all those different parts even more as one. More and more and more as one. Where the boundaries blur, where we're not sure anymore which line belongs to what. Where we jump over them. You should not limit anything. So don't limit the number of colors, don't limit. Color, as I said, is absolutely free. There's no rules. You can take as many or as few colors as you want. Yes, someone went in late, so I'm just gonna have a recap really quickly. So what we're doing is we're connecting the 4 parts of us, which is we start with the body, the emotions, the mental space, and our spiritual self. And right now we're connecting them together with the help, the power of color. And bringing energy flow into the drawing. Bringing some movement in it again. With color, it's always like the energy can really move. So I invite you to just feel into that. We'll give it another 3-4 minutes. And again, this as well, you can take as long as you need for this. You can come back to it even after we finish the drawing. You can always come back to anything. You can always add more lines, more rounding, more color. So you can come back to these parts. Oh, nice. I'm starting to like it. And with a color, like the goal is that you will like your drawing at some point. So that's why I said, choose the colors that kind of feel good, where you feel connected to them, where you feel energized. And see which colors want to go where. And that can be really interesting to see. And maybe one element wants to have many colors and another one wants to be kind of pure, just 1 or 2. Just allowing it to be whatever it is, whatever it wants to be, and just listening. That, by the way, is my word for 2025. So you're probably going to hear me say that 100 million times this year. We'll see. But yeah, just listen. Listen to whatever comes up for you. Okay. And now I gotta go into my thoughts a little bit. And you can leave spaces white. I always forget to say that. So there is no must to color everything. You can absolutely leave spaces. Again, learning to trust yourself, learning to trust your intuition, trust your feeling, trust whatever your intuition, your inner voice tells you. It's a nice thing when we have no rules, then we can truly listen to whatever our inner mind wants to say, wants to do, And sometimes we learn that we are looking for rules, and that we're wanting rules, and that is a very, very interesting insight as well. So just, take anything that comes up as interesting. Just be interested in what comes up for you. Ah. Ooh. It's gonna be the last color. Hmm. Oh, okay. I think I'm going to leave the colors like that. I will maybe color some more depending how my day goes. Okay, what we now want to do is connect to the divine, I'm going to say, the divine inside of you. We, of course, have the spiritual part of us, but now we want to connect to like the energy that flows through you. So now we're going to draw lines that go from one edge of the paper to another, and they can go any way. They can go across the picture, they can go from left to right, from bottom to top, however they want to go. So mine kind of starts down here somewhere. So I'm going to take a thicker pen. You can take your normal pen and just go over it several times, but I liked when it really, really sticks out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a line that flows through the picture, and I just trust wherever it wants to go. And then if I worked with my normal pen, I would go way and back. This is how I like to do it. So I will go over this line several times and just feel into it and see if this line wants to tell me something. Is there maybe a mantra, an affirmation, an energy that wants to be in the picture? I can, of course, also pay attention to which circles are connected here. Well, my line started in my thoughts, went to my spirit, then to my body. So I'm like, oh, interesting. Interesting. And we can draw several of those. I would say maximum 3 in a drawing like this. We don't want to overload it, but we want to kind of, again, connect the things together. Allowing the line to create a connection between the different parts, between the different circles. The line does not have to go through or touch the circles. It can also just go in the field. And then whenever I did that, I'm going to go and round my line so that it is connected and there are no little corners. I want everything to be nice and smooth and calm and soft so that I can really feel this energy flow. So here we can imagine this is an energy flow. This is, can maybe call it the energy from source. It's the big river of life that goes through our life, that takes us, that we are connected to. So here we are connected to everything. Now we are connected to the world around us. We are connected to the universe, to the earth, to all beings. Kind of like placing myself in an even bigger context. And of course, also again, kind of bringing together those parts of me to where I feel even more connected. I feel a little bit more closer to being this, becoming this MetaModern human that has all parts integrated. And interestingly, my emotional part is not integrated yet, so I will need a second line. So I do recommend to have a line that connects everything. It doesn't have to be one, but just have every part of you connected to a big line. They can be several big lines. They can flow into each other. They can also be separate. And this might be interesting to just note. So now I'm going to draw one from here and see where it wants to go. From the edge of the paper, going through my drawing, just allowing it to take me wherever it has to go. It does take me just into this other line. I think I'm just going to go with that. Maybe actually I have to go here. So there are two lines meeting inside my body circle, which is significant for me right now. Interesting. But just paying attention to that. Again, no right or wrong way to do this. And it's always good to just go over the line one more time and just kind of feel the flow of it, feel the energy of it. Feel how it creates connection. Is the connection easy or is it kind of an effort? Paying attention to it, feeling whatever there is to feel. Listening to your thoughts, to the stories that might pop up. And again, breathing. And we're going to give that maybe 2-3 minutes just to draw the lines, to integrate the lines, to be with those lines for a moment, to be with this energy flow that connects us to the all. And that connects all parts of us to everything. So it's not just a spiritual thing to be connected. It is also an emotional and a body and a mental thing to be connected with everything around us. Well, just kind of feeling into that. What comes up for you when you connect like this with this bigger energy? That flows through everything. And that, of course, does flow through our body, flows through our mind, through our emotions at all times. Nice. Now we could make a third one. Kind of wondering if I should make a third one or not. I feel like my spiritual self wants to be a little bit more connected, so I'm going to do one more little part. So I can also just kind of add a line that runs into the other one. Maybe this is going to be good enough. Yeah, I think this might be good. And again, trusting your intuition. Where does your line need to go? Where do you want this energy to flow? And now we have one more thing that we're going to add, and that is a big circle that envelops or that touches all the other circles. So what I will do is I will draw a circle in the center that really connects all of my other circles. And it can be super big, it can be kind of medium size, but I want it to touch every other circle. So I hope that that makes sense. So I'm just going to go with however big it kind of wants to be right now. So this is my circle. And this is the circle of me as an integrated MetaModern human. A human that is connected to the body, that is aware and healthy probably, and in good standing with the body, and that is at the same time connected to the emotions, to the mind, to the spirit, an integrated one. So now we're going to integrate that one more time, rounding it. And again, just trusting your hand however big the circle wants to be, wherever it wants to be, and it doesn't, of course, have to be a perfect circle. So don't worry if it's like an egg shape, that might be interesting too. That might actually have a message for you. Seeing how much it overlaps all the different circles. And then breathing a few more times with it. And we just want to integrate that. And well, we're going to do one more step after this. So now we'll just integrate it one time. And then we'll choose which circle will be the most important one, which can be the center one, but it can also be another one. So first I want to just round everything, and I know that sometimes it might feel redundant to round it first and then make the outline thicker and then have to round again, but the rounding is really an inner integrating. The rounding is really more about giving it time, slowing down, looking at all the parts, allowing your mind to drift, connecting with yourself, and softening. And breathing, breathing, breathing again, and coming back to yourself. And checking in with all these different little parts now that we are really connecting them all together in one circle. Really feeling their resonance with it. Which one needs more attention? And for me today, and I think many days, it's my body that needs more attention. So I will today emphasize my body circle. So you can, as I said, you can emphasize any part. It can be your body, your emotions, your mind, your spirit, or it can be the central circle. But I feel that for me, I just got to pay more attention to my body. So I'm going to go around this one and make it stand out thicker. And I want this line to really be like as thick as the extra fat line. So I'm going with my brush pen. You can just go around the circle several times to make it stand out. So when I look at this drawing, I want to be reminded of my first circle. so that when I see it, I know that in order to become all integrated, I need to focus here first. This is where my work is. So your work can, of course, be in a different place. Just being honest with yourself. Maybe something came up in your process where you feel like, oh yeah, that is showing me which part is important. Here again, this is all an exercise in trusting your intuitive knowing, because you know. Nobody else can tell you. You know what you need to focus on. You know your next step in your own individual evolution. And wherever it is, in the end, it will still take you to integrate all of them. It's also kind of trusting that this is part of a process. We are not here to be perfect. We are not here to be finished. We are here to experience the process. This is now the fixing circle. Yes. And question, my first two initial boxes look like something in a recent dream. Well, that's interesting. I've been waiting on context. There you go. That's the context. And then while you're softening the third square, my 3.5-year-old granddaughter crawled on my lap to watch and said calmly, I don't feel safe. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Wow, what a share. Ooh, there will be a replay, as always, of course. Okay, so I am going to come back on the video for a moment. Okay, so now, first of all, thank you for moving through this process with me. I feel that every time I make an intro drawing like this is always an experiment. And so this is, for me, like one way of playing with some of the things that we learned in the neurosynthesis course. The course itself will, of course, be much more structured, like mostly Pavel's work is. And I just want to very, very quickly share a few things of what we're going to work with. And then we're going to go to questions. So we will, of course, go into his MetaModern theory, because there is, of course, a whole body of theory behind it. And that theory gives us a lot of things to play with. And I intentionally say play with because I feel that, yeah, there is like this space that it opens that we can fill with all kinds of stuff. So this setup of the 4 different spaces, we're going to look into that in all kinds of different ways. The neurosynthesis course has a lot more though. We will also work with pyramids. Pyramids are something that Pavel loves. It's not my favorite personal thing, but it's very interesting to look at. So we will draw several different pyramids that also help us understand ourselves. One is by, I think it's Robert Dilts. Well, probably a lot of people know that. It's like in coaching, it's a big thing. The Dilts pyramid, the Maslow pyramid, then a pyramid that Pavel created. So we're going to look at different ways of understanding ourselves and the different layers that we are kind of made up of, and the different spaces that we may work in or have to work in. Then we will look at the roles that we play in life. Because one of the concepts that Pavel plays with is that we are, of course, not always the same. Sometimes I'm more the mom, sometimes I'm more the teacher, sometimes I'm the gardener, sometimes I'm the friend. So playing with that and the way that Pavel created that, I find it very, very interesting. He takes on the idea of the bagua, which is like from Feng Shui. Anybody who's into Feng Shui, we're going to create an internal Feng Shui, an internal map of ourself. So many of the processes that we go into in this neurosynthesis are literally maps for ourselves. maps that can help us understand ourselves on different levels and see where we need to work and what we need to do. So it's very focused work, very complex. So if you are into that kind of stuff, I'm going to say welcome and please join the course. This course is for anyone who has completed the basics level. So it's an advanced course and you need to have the basic user course. It can be with me or another teacher. And if you did it with me recently, you can do it before you receive your certificate because it might take me a while to do all the reviews and things. So if you are currently in the basics course or past basic students, you can join this course. The reason being that you need to be able to work through your own processes. And that, of course, you need to be familiar with all the general ideas of Neurographica and the general processes of Neurographica. So, as I said, it's an advanced course. And what else? Got this, the pyramids, yeah. And then we're gonna work with those four bodies, like Paddy calls them the four bodies: the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. So there will be processes around that as well. So it is jam-packed full of things. And yeah, I want to invite you to come. It's going to be interesting, and I will do it in 5 weeks. So usually my courses are 4 weeks, but because this is such a big kind of thing, and I wanted to make enough space for us to really go into the processes, to really go into the drawings. Um, so I make it 5 weeks, starting on February 22nd. So the Saturday after next week. So you have 2 weeks to decide. Okay, and now I'm going to open the space for questions. If you have questions about this course or about today's process, if you have other random questions, I'm going to see if I answer them or if I'm just going to put them away for later. We'll see. But yeah, if there are any questions, please type in the chat. And otherwise, I'm going to say thank you everyone for being here. I'm so excited that we were truly over 100. Yeah. Oh, Riley got the time wrong. I'm sorry. Yeah, there will be a recording. Don't worry. You can absolutely watch the recording.
I'm having some trouble with my colored pencils and the texture of mine. It's bumpy on the watercolor paper. Is there a blender you can get that blends the colors or something?
I would always ask you, what does that mean for your topic? It is bumpy. What does that mean for you and your different buddies? That's how we work in Neurographica. I'm sure there's things to blend it. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, that is like how I would look at all those things. Whatever happens, if like I literally had drawings where my ink pen just bled out, and instead of like dealing with it on a like level of the picture itself, you deal with it on your inner self. So where might it be bumpy in this connecting all the parts together or whatever you're working on right now? That would be the way I would look
Interesting.
at
Okay.
something like this. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, now the connection is even bumpy too. I didn't hear the last thing, sorry.
You were using colored pencil, right?
Yes, I use colored pencil, but I'm using copy paper. I use like the cheapest
Oh, that's
possible
why,
paper,
because it's
so
so
it's not
smooth.
bumpy at
Okay.
all. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it special. I'm trying to make it just fit into my frame of the camera. Okay, April says, can you share what the oval shapes means with us today? What might it mean to you? Same question. Oval shapes, of course, might remind us of certain things, like eggs or seeds, and they might, and this is just a possible interpretation, that is absolutely not the interpretation, but for me, whenever eggy shapes come up, I feel that it is something new, something that we might birth, something that is kind of growing inside of us, a seed or an egg that, at some point might ripen and be ready to go out into the world. But as I said, I would always ask, what does it mean to you when you look at it? Like, what comes up for you? So there are, I mean, that's what we do. We create meaning. You create the meaning that it has for you. Angelique says, do you recommend we do the courses from basics to more advanced? Just start with the basics. That's necessary, I'm gonna say, in order to follow this course. Um, Otherwise, which advanced courses you do after the basics, I usually recommend Algorithm 2, the neurocomposition, because it has a lot of things that we work with in other courses. But you can also jump into any advanced course. The way I teach it is to where any basic students should be able to follow it. And so, yeah, you can pick and choose which ones kind of are the most interesting for you. And it's more about like, do you want to do the live course or not? So if you're okay with just doing recordings, I would always go with Algorithm 2, because Algorithm 2 has like other basics, I'm going to call them. In Algorithm 2, we learn how to use the triangle, how to use the square, how to construct a picture, why things are in a certain place. And then after you did that, other algorithms can make more sense, or they can have like another layer that you see, but you're also going to be okay with just jumping into this after the field lines. Rama says my field lines tend to be quite straight rather than more neurographic lines. Any thoughts? That's an interesting one. I've actually had clients who had that too, and I always felt that they were quick, like the mind would be quick, and that's when the lines kind of get straight. So I would recommend, if you want your field lines to be more smooth, slow down. Slow down, breathe, and really let them meander. The field line, in a way, is where we want to bring our frequency a little bit lower. So you can even think of it as like the brain frequencies. No, you want to go into this like meditative state. And in that state, draw the field lines. So if your field lines are very straight, then maybe your mind takes over and goes like, oh yeah, we're going this way. So, what if you allow yourself to go this way, but on the way, you allow to move a little bit more. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope this helped. And yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Really, really happy to see you all. Question from a friend. If she takes the basics in these 2 weeks until the live, will she be able to participate? I'm probably going to allow it, I'm going to say, because like if you take the basics course and you at least watch the first 2 classes, then you learn all about the neurographic line and you learn the 8-step process that we need to definitely know in order to do any other courses. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes. I mean, like in the end, it's your choice to take a course. You can also just buy the course. I can't stop you from buying the course and joining. I just recommend to at least learn the basics before you do that. Nice. Does today's process need an intention and a reflection? Well, the intention is either, as I said in the beginning, you can work with a specific topic. So you can use this process to feel into how does my body, mind, emotion, spirit feel about a certain thing that I want, for example, my new job, or I don't know, moving my house, or whatever it is, you can feel into those 4 layers with the topic. And then in the end, of course, it has a reflection. My reflection is I need to come back to my body. So yeah, absolutely. A reflection, we always have a reflection. And I always recommend sit down, journal, write, allow your mind to kind of process all the things that happened. Allow yourself to process everything that happened and put your picture up somewhere for a few days and see what happens in the process. Whenever you walk past and you have it on your fridge or something, whenever you just look at it very short, or sometimes I like to also just stand in front of my pictures and stare at them and just let them kind of work into my subconscious more. So yeah, be with your pictures, be with the process.
I'm not quite done. When does the recording come?
Whenever I get it up. Like I have a family
Okay.
here and today is a Saturday. I'm gonna try to have it up by tomorrow, but I'm not gonna promise that. I'm gonna promise by next week. I will try to do it quickly and we'll see. So yeah, sorry if you have to wait, but I have a life out of this too. Oh yeah, do you want to take the group picture? I totally want to. I'm gonna just quickly go through the questions and see if there's anything else that needs to be on this recording. Um, in the courses, what do you mean by you give personal feedback? Personal feedback means you send me pictures and descriptions, and I make a personal video for you where I talk about your pictures and give you my insights and my tips on how you can support your own process. And yeah, I have many students that like it. So I hope that helps. Oh, yeah, and thank you everyone who answered the question already. I love you guys. You're wonderful. Thank you, thank you. And bye, Marianne. I see you waving there. Are you going to teach the other algorithms live again or just the recordings at some point in the future? I am probably going to teach the neurocomposition again this year and maybe one more, but yeah, it's going to take a little while before I go through all of them again live. I tried to do that in 1 year, one time, and it was just so exhausting that I'm not going to do that again. And I also have a few of my own things that I want to share as well. So every few months there will be an algorithm, but it's not going to be all of them together. It's going to be every now and then. But yes, eventually I'm going to teach all of them live again, I believe. Okay, one of my circles was small and behind another, so my large circle is needed to be a circle ended up off the page. Now my image is an undeniable landscape. Should I be adding on to that larger circle? You mean extending the paper? You can always do that. If a circle goes off the page and you are very, very intrigued by it and you really, really want to know what's happening there outside of your page, you can just glue another page to it, or you can glue your page on top of a larger page and make the picture larger so that your circle fits on it. Absolutely always an option and always fun. What does the larger circle represent? That is a question that you need to ask yourself. Or the larger in the middle is the MetaModern Human that integrates all parts, that is connected to the body, emotions, thoughts, and spirit. That is the circle in the middle of my picture here, this big one. That was basically the goal of our drawing today, to
Can I
create
see
this.
that again?
So the central circle connects all four parts.
Mm-hmm.
That is the MetaModern there.
Okay.
And as I said, it can look completely different from mine. Absolutely okay. Thank you, Rama, for answering the question as well. I really appreciate that. Okay, personal feedback. We had that. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is it okay to take notes on the drawing? Yes, absolutely. It is your drawing. You can do whatever you want with it, I'm going to say. Especially in this one. Yeah, can be interesting to take notes. And yes, I did use the lines of the four quadrants eventually. You don't have to do that though. So the four quadrants can also just be in your mind, or as someone said, you can fold the paper in four, which I think is a really cool idea. Okay, so I'm gonna say thank you, and I'm gonna stop the video. Oh wait, can you define MetaModern Human in words? No. As I said, like there's a whole class, the first class of the course will be about what the MetaModern Human is. Right now, our definition is it is a human that integrates body, emotions, mind, and spirit. That is the simple, the simple short version that I can give you right now. Because that is a whole class that does that. Okay, so thank you everyone. I'm gonna stop this recording.